You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below, and be sure to smash that like button. We got Gordon McKernan in studio with us for another segment. We always appreciate the time. Of course, you can follow him on all the socials at GetGordon. You go to getgordon.com. We've been great friends, great partners as well here with Gordon and his entire team. They've been great to deal with. So every time we get a chance to get you in studio for a few minutes, we always appreciate it. Just a great resource. I know our audience appreciates it as well because, gee, I mean, so like NIL is central to every conversation you have around college sports now. It's unavoidable, and you've been at the epicenter certainly of LSU's NIL efforts. What's anything new for the G team this fall with football or as we get closer to basketball?
Certainly, continuing to do what we have done, and saw like Dee Bro last night and talked to her, so that excites me about gymnastics, and then baseball, and someone reached out to me the other day about basketball and trying to do a little bit more there. Haven't really delved into that arena, but it's for good reason. There's been some ups and downs over there. With football, what I've learned, at least from our standpoint, is not to shoot all your wad before the season starts, right? Because you're going to commit to these players, and you want to keep them for the season, right? And sometimes they don't act as they should, or on the field and off the field, and it's better just to kind of let the season develop and see where the storylines pick up, both on the field and off the field, right? So, like the Week brothers, those are fun guys, and so we're starting to talk with them again, watching kind of what they do on the field, and you want to let those stories, I think, organically develop as best as possible, and that's what we're doing. So we just, our first big signing was Will Campbell. He was with a competitor law firm of mine up north for the last couple of years, and somehow we were able to persuade him to represent our brand for I hope not his last season, but in all likelihood probably his last season, right?
I think it's going to be his last season, G.
Yeah, so,
it'll be a pretty big NIL check to get him to walk away from top 10 NFL money.
I think so, but we have some fun things planned out with him. Cool. We're going to do a little alligator hunting, a little duck hunting, and it's going to be, we're going to have Taylor video and some of that, so we'll bring that experience to the Tiger faithful, so they get to see Will in that kind of light. But we'll just continue as the season progresses, and as we listen to things, to sign players that help our brand as well as help themselves and the school. Yeah,
I mentioned, so Gordon is pretty prominently featured in The Money Game, which is the Amazon documentary. If you haven't watched it yet, it is pretty interesting. You mentioned as the season goes along, one of the stories that you tell in the first episode is signing Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
And you can tell the story, but effectively, you said you called one of your marketing people, after the Alabama game.
I'm sitting, and I remember the game so well. Shaq's on the sideline. We're down there with him first quarter through halftime, and then we go up to watch it, and you just that energy. I mean, it's like no experience I've had in sport in a long, long time, and watching that 2-point conversion that we win and we go for it and all that. I text BK right there. I probably shouldn't have. I was just so caught up, and Amazon picked it up. They go, said, "You've got big blanks." I mean, man, hats off to you.
Basketballs.
Yeah, big basketballs. And the second thing was I texted my marketing director, Alex, said, "I want to sign Mason and Jaden Monday."
Yeah.
And I had no idea, but at the time, neither one of them had an NIL deal, right? They came in the office. I met with them. I'm like, "No NIL deal? You're starting quarterback at LSU?" He's like, "No, I don't have one." It's like, "Well, we're going to take care of that." So I signed him just to a 2-month contract, paid him a lot more just because I was Alabama. We beat him. I just wanted to do it. And and then thought, okay, I'll sign you at the beginning of next season. Then the Amazon documentary mentions it. I was dealing with his mother.
Yeah.
She's colorful. And
Regina's a firecracker, man. She's awesome.
a strong woman. And so we came around for the next negotiations, man. It was just, we were worlds apart. And I think she was kind of like a prophetess or something. My son's going to do some special things. And I'm like, I'm sure he will. But, we had a good year last year. We had a great year. So based upon all these things, I could pay him really good money. I was talking several $100,000.
Yeah.
But she had like Heisman numbers in her mind. I'm telling you, she saw it coming.
She knew it.
In hindsight, I wish I would have signed him, right? But we didn't. But we're still friends, and it turned out fine.
He had a great year. Obviously, I mean, he was sensational to watch and central to the documentary as well. So if anybody hasn't seen the documentary yet, the Money Game, is there anything else? Like, I mean, I'm interested in my own, because I said I've just watched the first episode.
Right.
What can I expect? Have you seen the whole thing yet?
No, I haven't seen the whole thing
you
yet.
haven't watched it.
No, so as much as you see me out there in public eye, I don't like looking at myself or watching myself, and I get real, I don't say nervous. I don't want to mess up. I don't want to affect the school, my brand, my family. It's
Sure.
There's some anxiety with me watching myself, right? And
Sure.
I don't do it easily. So usually what happens is I get some positive affirmation from my friends and family. Go, you didn't bomb, you didn't look terrible. Whatever, these things, it's okay to watch. And I've gotten it, so I started watching it. I haven't finished it, but I was that nervous.
Just to watch it.
Yeah,
Man.
It's stupid.
It's not
Right.
stupid.
That's how I am.
It's just what it is.
Yeah.
So you can catch it on Amazon Prime. It's exceptionally well done, and they chronicle. I mean, there's just so many storylines around LSU. Just when you think about Olivia Dunn and Angel Reese, I mean, it's all Flau'jae, Jaden, all the things we've talked about. It's just it really is incredible in this era how much of the sort of pop culture crossover there's been with LSU athletes into popular culture, who have been sort of transcendent in their sports.
No doubt. And just looking at there, I mean, the star power, the celebrity power that's just in that picture right there. I mean, those are the highest paid athletes, NIL athletes in the country last year. Livy and Angel, top.
Yeah.
Right? And then Flau'jae has her whole rapping career and all that, and we happen to do that jingle, and that's part of the documentary, and they liked it, and so.
Oh, I can't wait to see that part of it. That was the Super Bowl special where the Get Gordon jingle rap by Flau'jae was awesome. Gordon's in studio with us for a couple more minutes. The other thing I wanted to ask you about, so we've talked a ton about NIL, but RevShare is coming next year as well. I'm not sure if you saw this today, but the University of Tennessee announced they are increasing. They're putting what they're calling a talent fee on ticket prices. So they're going to increase ticket prices for every sporting event by 10%, and that's going to go directly to help with that revenue share. They said it should cover roughly a third of their revenue share expenses, just that. What's your thought on something like that, on putting effectively a tax on tickets to help with the rev share?
Yeah, like most Louisianans, we don't like taxes, and we call them all sorts of other names to get around it being a tax. And I hate that for the everyday fan who looks forward to that game. Going since I was a child in the '60s, and everything gets more and more expensive, and licensing fees and seat fees, and everything's expensive. But it's just the name of the game. Unfortunately, I think it's smart, and our athletic director Scott Woodward is the master at finding funds, how to help a program in a whole university. I think he's done a great job with some of his deals. I'm glad he hasn't done a tax on the everyday fan. It may have to come to that if everybody else institutes it. What are you going to do? And I hadn't seen the Tennessee thing, and you mentioned earlier that they're also passing a law basically saying, NCAA, you can't mess with us. We're going to do what we want to do. We can pay our schools. And I would imagine all schools will follow suit. And ultimately, it's going to have to decide, are we really a part of the NCAA, and we're going to have some governing body that's going to administer a fair set of rules for everybody, or is it just going to be the wild, wild west from the institutional side? And when you go there, the really wealthy institutions are going to win at the end of the day, right?
Yeah. So what do you think? So that was signed into law today in the state of Georgia by their governor, where Georgia, University of Georgia can pay their student athletes. So Georgia can effectively pay an NIL deal to its student athlete. From a legal perspective, and I know, and I live with an attorney. Or I should say, I live with an attorney. I was raised by an attorney, so I understand that you're gonna talk about case law and you're gonna say precedent, and I get it. But from what we know with the NCAA, like, does the NCAA have a ground, like a legal leg to stand on?
I wouldn't think so, to override a Georgia law like that. Now, remember, the NCAA is a member-run organization. It's part of something you join, right?
Yeah.
Now, they could sanction Georgia or other schools and kick them out, right? And then what does Georgia do? Who are they going to play? That would be one thing. But when you hear about these things, it just begs for a federal solution, and it's got to be coming, because I don't think any of us thought 3 years ago that a state would pass a law which allowed the university, the local state university, to start playing players to that degree. And when you do that, that's where Congress gets this patchwork of different states. They go, that's not fair. We're going to do something for everything.
Yeah.
So it's coming.
We'll see how it may go. In the meantime, Gordon McKernan in studio with us. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. GetGordon.com. You know the drill. Make sure you catch him on the money game. He's got to get to LSU practice. So they're gonna. What you gonna do? You gonna give the team pep talks today? What's going on over there?
No, I think they're just go watch. From time to time, I like to drop by and see how they're doing. And got some NIL discussions that are going to happen with some of the administration out there on some things they want me to look at and just give an opinion on. So go do that.
Tigers, I know you get to watch the team. You get to go to a lot of the games. Yep. How you feeling on the field?
I had lunch with Joe Sloan on Monday.
Nice.
He's
a big whiskey guy, by the way. Are you a whiskey guy?
I do like whiskey.
I'm a giant.
I know
I'm
you're
a giant whiskey nerd.
Taylor, remind him we need to get him something he doesn't have. And he probably has everything.
Yeah, I probably do. You don't need to get me anything, but I'd love to have a pour. You, me, and Joe. You, me, and Joe. We'll go have some whiskey.
But and I don't want to discuss all the things, but we've watched a few games now, and I probably have some of the same questions that you have in your mind.
Yeah.
And I want to get away from it and say, okay, Joe, so tell me this. Because to one thing I said, and I told this BK last year, said sometimes a little messaging to the public, to the everyday fan, to help us understand some of the things that are occurring on the field when we see, because we're so invested in it. That'd be great for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to keep us in the dark on everything. I know you have strategies and things like that, but I think some of that would go well to the Tiger faithful.
Yeah.
Right?
Just got to win the next two.
That's right.
Win the next two, get to your open date, and go give them hell against Ole Miss.
I agree.
You managed to pull that one off. Yeah. The entire tone of the season changes.
And they look good right now, Ole Miss.
They do look good.
They do.
They haven't won here since 2008. So Tiger Stadium can be a pretty big influencer.
I would agree.
Gordon McKernan in studio with us. Always appreciate you. Thank you so much for the time.
Yep, glad to be here. Thank you.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.